Welcome to the Saturday edition of the Field of 68's Best Bets show. We are presented by BetRivers here. This is the three-man weave. We're all back. I am safely in Baltimore, guys. I've got my Kai 3MW background here because I don't think you guys need a sloppy Baltimore hotel room to see that. So Matt, you're the only one with the real tangible background. That means you get to go first on takeaways. What did you see last night?
I'm going to save the more popular takeaways for you guys. I assume you want to talk about Nova and the broken.
What happened with Nova last night?
I think they got beat pretty convincingly. That's what I heard. I just through the grapevine, Jim. Yeah. I want to start with Fresno State, sort of an off the radar Mountain West squad. Very impressive. They completely dominated Cal Poly. Jamal Baker, Kai, former UK transfer, had 12 points in 14 minutes off the bench. I think we need to be taking this team seriously. People are snoozing on my Bulldogs. I've been a Justin Hudson defender for multiple years now. And sure enough, finally, my stubbornness is starting to pay off. So keep an eye on the fighting Bulldogs. They had a legit pro in Orlando Robinson up front too.
Yeah, they've been great this year. Villanova, the stat I believe that I saw was first back-to-back games at 28% or under from the field since like 1999. So we're witnessing historically bad Villanova shooting right now. I'm still not worried. I'm really not.
It's also the first time Jay Wright's ever lost back-to-back games by 20 at Villanova.
That's what it was. Sorry. That's what the stat was. But they are shooting around 28% last two games. Weird, Jim. Weird world we're currently living through.
I'm not nervous either, Kai. I don't know why. That's all I have. Sorry, Jim. I can't explain why. I'm just not nervous.
Honestly, it's probably good. They dropped 6 spots in KenPom. Great. Give me some value on Villanova going forward.
Yeah, I mean, it was road Villanova. I mean, like the home hype Creighton spot in Omaha. I'm sure there was a hype crowd. I didn't get to see it, whether the crowd was huge or not. But Creighton had just lost that game to Arizona State. I think clearly they were looking ahead to the Villanova one. Like that was big time Super Bowl for them. Interior defense is still a problem, Matt. Like that's not going away, but the shooting is not going to stay as bad as it is. It's just insane. I believe I tweeted like 23 for 100 from deep in their last 3 games. They're not a 23% shooting team.
No,
that's not going to
shoot.
Continue.
They've always been able to shoot. It's like in their blood. It's in the Nova DNA.
Yeah. It's not perfect right now. They have some work to do, but I still kind of think they'll figure it out. We'll see. All right, let's go to the outline, guys. Let's start talking through today's games. We've got plenty to do. Unfortunately, Memphis, Tennessee is canceled. As noted, we'll skip over that in the outline. But we're starting with the remnants of the CBS Sports Classic. This is kind of the cobbled together final game, but it's a good one, guys. Blue Bloods, Kentucky, North Carolina, coming to you from Vegas, T-Mobile Arena. Both these teams could really use a big win, but Kai, I think Kentucky needs it a little bit more. They have a bare bones resume right now. They're slight favorite, taking a little bit of money, up to 2.5. What do you see here? Anything for you?
Yeah, even up to 3 at BetRivers. Wow. Kudos to college basketball guys. The teams being flexible, making lemonade out of lemons. Kentucky, North Carolina, both games got canceled. They play each other. Makes sense. I'm glad they can do that. Flexibility rocks. Should be a good game. Matt, advantage maybe UNC on paper. The best thing Kentucky's done all season is control the glass, and UNC is the second best rebounding team in the country on the defensive end and one of the bigger teams in college basketball. But this one feels like a Kentucky game that they need, like Jim said, they have 0 good wins. Absolutely need this win here. Probably the more motivated of the two. And I've been going back and forth of what short turnarounds, quick opponent changes means in terms of the coaching factor. I think Calipari is a better coach than Hubert Davis. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure. So advantage Kentucky, and it looks like the odds makers in the market are agreeing with that and making it -3 right now.
Yeah, I saw a quote this morning from Hubert Davis saying, preaching to his team that the scouting report doesn't matter. I think he outright said scouting reports are overrated, which I don't know if I believe. I think they're sort of important. Also kind of within the job description of head coach.
Like if you're the guy who wrote up the scouting report, you're like, oh, come on, man. That's my I spent hours doing that.
Oh, that's funny. So that aside, I think there's a slight lean to Kentucky with me, Kai, because of that reason. I think I trust Cal in bigger game coaching spots a little more than I do Hubert. I'm not here to trash Hubert Davis. I think we're seeing this UNC team starting to come together. Defensive improvements, offensive cohesion for sure. Could argue it's a buy low spot for the Tar Heels. I actually kind of like the over. Kai, back to your point, what do we make about this short turnaround lack of scouting report? tend to think it helps offenses more than defenses. It's more of a roll the balls out, let them go play. Maybe the pace ramps up a little quicker than a game where you have a deliberate report, you're executing more half court stuff. So I guess I would lean over in UK given the circumstantial changes last second.
I kind of lean over too. A couple of years ago, these two teams played in the CBS Sports Classic, and it was 103-100. It was Malik Monk's 40-point game.
Oh yeah, ballistic that game. Yeah.
So that was obviously a fast Kentucky team. They're playing with De'Aaron Fox at point guard. So you had the turbo go point guard, but this year they've got Wheeler and Ty Washington. They can run too. So I kind of like the over as well, Matt. Don't really have a big lean on the side. At 3.5, if it gets up there, then maybe you'll look for Carolina. It seems a little high, but
it does. Yeah.
Nothing strong on side. I think over might be the best bet there. All right. Let's go to the next one. This one is in Phoenix, guys. A lot of neutral site showcases today before Christmas. Texas Tech and Gonzaga. The Zags, Matt, they're coming off two poor performances in showcase games. Maybe not poor, but two losses.
Yep.
They got wiped out by Alabama. That one was poor. The Duke game, I can forgive them for that. I mean, Duke played great. Gonzaga was pretty solid too. Do we get the angry Zags team here on a neutral that we saw against UCLA and kind of the just big blowout factor? The line certainly indicates it up to 9.5 at BetRivers before the show.
Yeah, I think we do. And they're also catching a Texas Tech team that's walking in a bit gimpy. Terrence Shannon battling back issues. Malik Wilson, key cog, sort of a combo guard there. Great shooter, has been ruled out for this game. And I think this is a similar matchup for the Zags that we saw with Texas. They're a little bit soft up front. And, Mark Adams, a former Chris Beard disciple, Texas was like, hey, we're going to let you go one-on-one and let Timmy have his. And he did. He had a few meals for himself in that game. I see a little bit of a deja vu repeat here with the Zags, especially coming off those two big losses that Jim mentioned. They want to, I think, reassert themselves as the alpha of college basketball. Some people may be doubting that now for those two L's in big spots. Texas Tech was, also a little bit overrated in the analytic markets. A lot pointing to Zags here. It's been bet up, though, to 9.5, 10 in some places now. It's a little too expensive. Are you still going to lay that?
And odds makers sniffed out that overrating.
And they had KenPom had it at 6, I think. Yeah.
KenPom's got it at 6. Odds makers opened at 8.5. They said, no, thank you, KenPom. Yeah. And that's probably the correct thing to do. I would have loved to have gotten 6.
Yeah. Market indicates it was the correct thing to do. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Since they're still taking money.
I don't see Texas Tech scoring very easily in this game. I do think we get a Gonzaga effort, true to their nature, which is arguably the best team in the country. I just don't think you can't out physical this Gonzaga team. I don't think. I mean, they're too big. They're just too well coached. I really think Gonzaga wallops them today. Excuse me. And Jim, double digit win. Sure, that's probably on the docket.
That's where I'm at too, Kai. I can't really recommend laying double digits, but I think they win by double digits, and I don't know. We'll see what we get. The matchup factor I think that stands out to me is you beat Gonzaga with dribble penetration. We saw Duke do it. We saw Alabama do it. Their wings aren't great on the ball. And that's not really something I think of as Texas Tech strength, like slashing, open up the court.
Yeah,
it's so much more meticulous than that. And especially with Shannon banged up and Wilson out, those are two of their best dribble penetrators. I think that's going to cut down their effectiveness even more. So yeah, definitely lean to the Zags for me on a neutral there. All right, next one on the outline. Sadly, we have to skip Tennessee and Memphis not playing.
Hypothetical handicap, Jim. We all liked.
I thought the line was a little too high. Yeah. I mean, we were gonna have a juice crowd in Nashville, that neutral site game.
Rick Barnes, Penny getting the boxing gloves out. Yeah, I was rooting for that one, but no longer.
Yeah.
Throw it out.
Yeah. All right. Next one, another neutral site. This one is from the Pentagon in South Dakota, Utah State, and Iowa. Injury concerns here, Matthew, and the market has acknowledged that. Justin Bean questionable for this one after getting banged up against Weber State. I'm guessing Rylan Jones also out. He hit his head on the floor and he has concussion issues in the past. So I would think he is likely out as well. Certainly some interesting X and O things here with the matchup of versatile bigs that can get out on the perimeter. But I mean, Bean's status has to be the biggest thing, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think, just bigger picture. I think the odds makers and early market that came in and hit Iowa pretty hard, smelled some blood in the water with, you mentioned those key injuries to Bean and Jones. It does feel a little bit high, a little bit expensive at 6.5 right now. I actually was looking more at the total in this. You talk about in some regards, these two teams are mirror images of each other with the versatility in their forwards. I think both teams can score pretty easily against both. I think the pace is going to play pretty quick, Kai. I'm surprised it's been bet down from 154.5 down to 152 in some places. I think both teams can score pretty easily here. And the Pentagon is a shooter's paradise. Now, we've seen some games soar and just become fireworks shootouts at that quaint little, short backdrop.
Iowa last year against Gonzaga.
Yeah, they just went boom, 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 pinball up and down. Everything was falling. I like over.
See, I don't because of the Bean injury. I don't think Utah State scores very easily. Justin Bean is one of the most important players to his team in the country, and you can make an argument it's like top 5. He's that good. He only sprained his ankle. Maybe he plays a little bit, at least hobbled though. And Rylan Jones is highly underrated. Jim said he has concussion issues. I bet he misses this game. He probably shouldn't take chances with that. He draws like 100 charges a game. He's a feisty on ball defender. High assist rate, keys their offense. He can shoot. I just don't think Utah State's offense opens up nearly as much without Jones and Bean. They were 15 for 30 against Weber from 3. Without those guys in the lineup, though, I just can't see them repeating that performance. I don't see an answer for Keegan Murray on the other side of the floor. Iowa's coming off 3 straight losses. That's a big bounce back situation for me. I think it's a comfy Iowa win, -6 for sure.
Yeah, I like Iowa as well. It's just the Utah State thing. I mean, with the injuries and coming off that home run performance at Weber, I tend to lean towards like the buy low of Iowa coming off their 3 losses. Stephen Ashworth went bananas against Weber State. I think I saw the Weber beat writer said he had more points and threes in that game than he ever had in high school, which is like absurd. Just had more in a Division I game than he did in high school. So
why not?
Yep. I estimate that comes back down to earth a little bit. They probably don't get as many good looks from 3 without Bean's offensive rebounding. So keep an eye on that as well. Lean towards Iowa for us. Matt likes the over. All right, let's go to the first portion of Chat Mob. And reminder, these best bets feeds will be migrating solely to the YouTube best bets feed on the Field of 68, not the general Field of 68. So make sure you're subscribed to the exclusively best bets feed. That's it. Matt, give some questions.
We're going right to extras here, folks. We're getting nitty gritty right off the bat. In a timely fashion, because our guy Bernie is going to be attending, or so he says, LaSalle Bucknell game. Okay, any thoughts on this one? I guess I would ask our good buddy Bernie to give us an update on Andre Screen. He's supposed to play today. We think he's going to play. Obviously, not obviously, to those who don't know, Bucknell's offense runs entirely around him up front. I think if he plays, I would like the Bucknells here, Kai.
Boy,
the Fighting Bucknells.
Spread sure is short.
It is short, though.
Preseason, I expected Bucknell to be like bottom of the barrel, bad. They've been feistier than I expected. I know, not really like up to program standards, right? This is a proud program.
A proud program it is,
yeah. They've played better. LaSalle's played a lot worse. So preseason, I would have made the spread a ton higher than 2.5. I'm actually still leaning towards LaSalle. I cannot imagine a world where Bucknell wins this game. And that's basically what you're talking about with a 2.5 point spread.
Yep.
I think Bucknell wins. So,
wow.
Jimmy, right back at Kai. Yeah.
All right, Bernie, get on the beat.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, he said he's supposed to play, but we'll.
He was
we'll
out with a non-COVID illness 10 days ago.
I think he's fine. I think he's fine. Jim, another extra here. Mr. Leg Show asking about Fairleigh Dickinson. Are they down double digits to UVA early? I think yes.
I mean, probably. This is like not the stoppable force versus the movable object. Like Fairleigh Dickinson's defense is terrible. But do you really want to lay 25 points with that Virginia offense? Ugh, this is a gross, disgusting stay away. Even if Devin Dunn's out for Fairleigh Dickinson, I can't trust Virginia as a big favorite. I just have to stay away, Matt. I can't help it.
Yeah, Fairleigh Dickinson's like the biggest whack-a-mole roster game to game at any team in the country. I just think Greg Brandon treats the non-conference. Oh, sorry, there's Omaha. Sorry, Omaha. With all due respect, the king of who the hell is playing for you today. That's a stay away unless you know who's playing. I just think Brandon treats the non-con as just sort of an exhibition. I just don't like trusting Fairleigh Dickinson in some of these games. Of course, I'm grinning ear to ear as we have to discuss your Missouri Tigers.
Don't do it yet.
Don't do it yet. Should we save it? All right. Yeah. I know. I'm just so excited to talk about it. Teaser for Harry. I mean, I think the cat's out of the bag where the boys really.
We're going to talk about it, I guess. Let's just do it.
Let's just do it now. Because we're getting it right off. Where are you at here?
Best bet. Utah State.
Whoa.
Good God. Utah. Whoa. -4 at BetRivers. This game has been bet down. Who's on Mizzou? Honest question. Who is on Mizzou? I think Utah is fully healthy now. Marco Anthony Brandon Carlson, the two main guys that were hurt. They seemed fully healthy against Manhattan. It's been a week. Brandon Carlson has no answer on either end for Mizzou. Jordan Wilmore is terrible, guys. He's big, but he's terrible.
Not a good ball player.
He will get in foul trouble. Carlson can pull him to the perimeter. They put a smaller guy on Carlson. Carlson take him to the post. The coaching advantage, guys, Craig Smith and Conza Martin. I'll let you do the math on that one. And then Mizzou's home court is a joke. I saw it firsthand. It's brutal. There's going to be no one there. So Utah -4 is my best bet of the day.
Yeah, Kai. The only minuscule thing I can come up with for Mizzou is it's like this is the JV version of Memphis. How bad can they be?
Sure. Yeah,
but
it is.
Mizzou can be that bad. I'm very confident that they're that bad. And the coaching matchup, I certainly lean Craig Smith in Utah as well.
Yeah, I think there's actually a good. We'll get to the Oregon-Baylor game later on the rundown for those. I think we've seen a couple of folks ask about that in the chat, but I think that's a better comparison to the Memphis-Alabama today. Mizzou, no, with like no home crowd and talent that's basically mid to low major. Oh, but hey, you do get Boogie Coleman back today, so whoop-de-doo, hooray!
Their only hope is to scrap. They can certainly scrap. I don't think that's going to be enough.
Yeah.
All right, Kai Taylor asking about Louisville, Western Kentucky. My 2 cents on this game is I like both teams. I'm staying away. Western Kentucky closer to their full semblance of players now that Josh Anderson's returned from COVID. Cameron Justice, making the Bill Murray debut midseason out of nowhere. He's starting he's just out there raining threes now. I like this Hilltop team, Kai, but I like Louisville too.
Seems a bit short to me. I'm betting, or excuse me, not betting. I'm leaning towards Louisville -2.5.
Jim, I like where you're pointing. I agree with that direction.
I like the over. I think Louisville's defense is a little overvalued by shooting splits right now. I think this one plays up tempo. Both teams very fast on the offensive end, possession length wise. So I like the over here.
Our boy Noah asking about Duke versus Elon, another last second schedule adoption here. A lot of parallels, I think, to our discussion with Kentucky, North Carolina. I kind of like the over because it seems like with no time to really prepare, it's just let's roll the balls out and have a pickup exhibition type game. Elon can score. We know they can't defend, Jim, especially not Duke.
Yeah, they got Gillen's Butler back last game. He matters. The Butler transfer, he's actually like kind of a versatile defender and shot creator. This seems like a lot of points to me. 28, that seems high. So
it was just 22. It closed 22 against App State, just for reference, I think. Yeah. So.
Yep. And Duke did end up covering, but it was a little dicey for a while, especially early second half. They were only up like 5. So slight lean to Elon, but it's nothing strong, especially at a spread that size. I'm not like amped to take the underdog.
Yeah. Mr. Savage asking about Nevada LMU, a little West Coast special here. Big question mark with Warren Washington. I'm not sure if he's going to play or not. He's a key big guy for them. Kai, I like the Lions as a short dog here. Am I off my rocker?
No, I lean that way, +6.5. I'm surprised it hasn't moved at all, like at all. That either means that people expect Warren Washington to play or they don't really care if he's out.
Yeah.
And LMU hasn't been very good this year. Can't really blame the market for not moving this game because of Washington, his uncertainty. I do lean your way though, Matt, 6.5. I think LMU can hang.
Yeah, I think that Nevada off the COVID pause this is our, one of our first few test runs of COVID pauses this year and how those affect. I mean, Wagner was good, but they were shorthanded. I mean, there's concerns here too that you could have a surprise absence for Nevada. So that would help your LMU side.
Sure.
Here's a game that I'm like sneaky excited about, even though it probably won't be very competitive. Arizona, Cal Baptist. Mr. Renzo asked about this in the chat. Jim, international flair galore in this game. You have Arizona's pretty much like world collection of dudes that have come together and just been a juggernaut so far. And then you have Cal Bap with Taron Armstrong, the beloved Australian who we love.
Yeah.
Over?
I love over. I think there's a ton of points here. Cal Bap has played no one in the top like 175 of tempo. Like so they look like they play some slower games. This is a whole different Arizona animal. They're going to run. I think over's a great bet here.
Yeah, I think Cal Bap's smart too. I started just jumping, guy. I think they want to just jack transition threes, their first open look, right? They're not going to try and methodically work the ball around in a half court against a set U of A defense. They're going to try and get theirs in the open court. So I think a lot of quick threes up and down.
Totals moved like 6-7 points.
Yeah, it's been hammered.
it's
we endorsed at the current number. What's it at right now?
It's 160.5.
I think this game could go like 90.
Side.
I think it'd be 100 to 70. Yeah.
Arizona scores 100.
I think
Arizona should score 100 here. They just put up 105 against Northern Colorado, who's better defensively than
they're good, aren't they?
They are. Nice ball
really
club.
Yep.
Kai, one more. We'll get back to our program. Brandon asked about Bradley St. Joseph's. I cannot believe I actually laned St. Joe with the number I made on this game. I've come around to accepting that St. Joe is not terrible. I've been fairly impressed. Fairly emphasis on somewhat fairly. Want to caveat that the talent's decent, and I think they're actually playing a modicum of defense, Kai.
They've been a lot better recently, besides the Villanova game where they got trounced, but they beat Georgetown. They've covered their last two. Penn and Temple have their own issues, but still, cover's a cover. They've been better. I have no side in this game, though.
I think their last two scores were misleading because of shooting.
Fair.
Temple was 2 for 20 from deep, 7 for 18 from the free throw line. Oh, wow, look how good St. Joe's D is. I don't buy that. And then their own shooting performance, St. Joe's against Penn, was a little aberrational. 8 threes from Jordan Hall. I don't think he's hit 8 threes in an empty gym before. So I still think they're a little overvalued. I lean towards Bradley there.
It's good. It's a good dig.
I kind of think Jordan Hall could be a burgeoning star. So I think they're at least competent with a guy
you're
like
late
that
to the party, buddy.
Man, he's like a draft prospect, first round guy.
Well,
so
I know, but he's actually playing like one now. We've been hearing that for like the last year. St. Joe's fans have been trying to tell us that. It's like, well, your team sucks and he's not been playing good. Now he's actually making that come to life. So I'm now buying into it. Let's go back to our program outline. Let's go.
All right. We're heading to the Crossroads Classic, Maddie. The final year of it. Your Indiana Hoosiers are a part of this. Notre Dame, Indiana. We're going to start with that one. The one thing that really shocked me, guys, was the under has been hit with a hammer here. I mean, it's down like 4.5, 5 points. Indiana's taken a small bit of money, but Matt, what's going on with the total here? Do you agree with that movement in your Hoosiers game?
I do. Here's why. I think Indiana's defense is for real, and I think Notre Dame's going to have trouble creating shots and getting open looks unless our boy Wesley has one of those out-of-body experiences like he had against Illinois. I also think Notre Dame's pack line-ish defense will force the Hoosiers to take some shots. And we know IU, while they've shot the ball better this year, Kai, they have shooters.
A bit more shooters, yeah.
They do, right? I mean, Park Sturgeon shot the ball well. Miller Kopp stepped in. Zaire Johnson's making threes occasionally. I still don't trust his team to make threes consistently. I think Mike Bray will do everything in his power to prevent Trace Jackson Davis from going off and make others get theirs. So I kind of agree with the money. I think it's a little bit low, though. 133.5. Man, that is it's a short total.
Notre Dame's off that huge Kentucky win after not covering and losing to A&M, Illinois, Boston College. I mean, talk about a huge effort there. Bad effort for Kentucky as well. Indiana really needs this win for their resume. Matt, we are under the perception Indiana is a good team. They're top 30 in KenPom, but their only win is St. John's. It's at home. It's not really an awesome win right now.
Yeah.
This is their last chance at a non-con win before Big Ten play, a good non-con win. Prentice Hub, if you haven't noticed, is still a shell of himself. He had 2 points on 1 for 6 shooting against Kentucky. He has a 72 O rating. Thankfully, they have Blake Wesley, who's been fantastic. My guts is Indiana here at -4. Nothing strong. I just don't think Notre Dame has an answer for TJD. Few teams do. And I think they need this win more.
Yeah, I kind of like Indiana here as well. I think their 2 road performances were better than losses. I mean, like the Wisconsin game, they were the better team for 25 minutes and then they melted. Tough place to do that. I think the Kohl Center is a tough place to play. And then at Syracuse, I was kind of impressed with the way they punched back against a hot shooting Orange team. Yeah. Ended up losing in double OT, but so this is their first neutral site game. It's not a true road game. I kind of think we see like the Indiana, us three especially, we thought we were going to see in the preseason, like, oh, top 25 team, get a big win. And I'm still not buying Notre Dame right now, Matthew.
I agree. I concur.
All right. The other game in the Crossroads Classic, Butler and Purdue, a much bigger spread on this one, guys. Up around, last I checked was 15.5, but that was before Chuck Harris was ruled out with a non-COVID illness. So certainly I would imagine Purdue has taken some money in the last 10 or 15 minutes. I don't know how Butler competes inside. Their sloppy ball handling will fuel Purdue's shockingly good transition attack. Matt, this feels like Purdue can do to Butler what they did to Florida State. And Florida State's better than Butler, and Purdue blew them out. But this is on a neutral site. Do they need the Mackey crowd to blow somebody out?
I mean, it certainly helps. There's no better crowd. There's no better tailwind.
It's up there.
It's right up there.
Definitely up there.
It's in the top 5. I'm looking at BetRivers right now. It's still sitting at 15.5. So it seems that the market hasn't quickly either seen the news or maybe they're just not. They're shrugging off the Harris thing.
No player matters for Butler against.
Yeah.
It's starting to go.
It's starting to go. Okay. I think Harris does matter. I actually was leaning Butler, to be honest, if he was playing. I just think Butler in this Crossroads Classic, I believe they are ATS-wise one of the better teams. They just always compete in this thing. Like they've had not great teams in years past. I think it was 2 years ago they had the freshman-laden team, and they were just scrappy. Without Enzi, though, I do worry that they be a bloodbath up front. Yeah. And without Harris, I just don't know how they score. I'm not going to lay it. I think it's a big number, though, for a neutral site Crossroads Classic game in general.
Harris, arguably the best player. Yep. Enzi is super important against Purdue. I mean, there's going to be 1 million offensive rebounds for Purdue. Yeah. I'm not sure Butler's going to grab one. Butler can pray that it shoots well, and that's basically it. I think it's going to be a bloodbath. I think Purdue wins by 20 easily. Yeah,
I'm with you, Kai. I think the advantages are very clear for them. Butler cannot take advantage of Purdue's lack of wing defenders, kind of like the way NC State was able to drive on them over and over again. That's not Butler, especially without Chuck Harris. I think, again, bloodbath inside. And Matt, do you care that Travion Williams is starting over Zach Edey this game? Is that a good sign for the Boilers?
I kind of like we're so good that we can bring our All-American off the bench arrogance that Painter was using to start.
Well, Purdue's going to tell you that Zach Edey is
also American. So I guess it's still, that pretension.
I hope we've proven that Travion Williams is much better than Zach Edey. We've proven that yet?
He's more versatile.
He does more. I mean, he's
such a good
I love Zach Edey. I love Zach Edey, but come on.
All right. That's all I got in that one, Jim.
Yeah. Okay, good. 2 more on the outline here. Baylor at Oregon. I know Matt was referring to it earlier, but this is the one. I know Eric Haslam, our buddy on Twitter, mentioned this. It's kind of the new Alabama at Memphis, where it's like, okay, the home team's been uber awful compared to expectations. You have a team coming in that's got a lot of public juice. Baylor's number 1 in the polls now. They're only laying 7, Matt. Is that too short against an Oregon team that has really struggled?
No, I think this number is too high. Here's the parallel, I think, is when you have a team that's talented, that's desperate, back against the wall, you put them in a situational spot where you presumably have a hype home crowd behind you. Now, we'd be disappointed with some of our anticipation of big hype spots. Memphis had some real juice in that crowd. I think Oregon brings it at the Pit. That's traditionally a really good environment when the momentum's there. And I think that just really fuels Oregon to kind of overcome this tough struggle. And I think you see their best game today, or the closest to their best we've seen this year. I also like that they're coming off a fairly impressive performance against Portland. So at least there's some recent evidence that they're not completely broken. And Houston's kind of coming in gimpy as well here, Kai. Baylor, excuse me. I don't.
Matt's thinking ahead to some chat questions.
I know there's too many damn questions here. I like Oregon. That's all I got, Kai.
I mean, here I go again with the ever so small fade of Butler or Baylor, just ever so small. Not at 7.5. Sure. Why fade Baylor? Why do it? 6-2 against the spread, 6.9 cover margin. They're awesome. They're good everywhere. I hope Oregon's win against Portland kind of sparked them back into reality, like Matt hinted at there. Theoretically, they have the size and the talent to make it a close game. The Pit is a strong home court historically, but I would tread lightly if you're thinking about the Ducks. I don't think most people are thinking about the Ducks, but I would tread lightly if you are.
Hey, they're healthier now too. Just worth mentioning. Eric Williams is back in the fold.
Yeah, so he came off the bench last game. I'm not sure he's like fully himself, so I'd be a little skeptical that. I mean, I'm very much colored by my eye test of watching Oregon's offense against Houston's defense in Vegas and being like, oh, they have no chance of scoring. And I'm worried that's what Baylor can do here. Like we saw them suffocate Villanova's offense. They could do that same thing to Oregon. So scared of it. I think numerically the home dog is the right side, but matchup wise, I'm just horrified of that. So, All right, last one on the outline. Your guys' hometown, the St. Louis Billikens, playing host to Auburn. Auburn only a -5 favorite, I think, 146 total. Kai, I'm going to go to you first here. SLU had some problems with the athleticism of Memphis, of the athleticism and depth of UAB. Is that kind of the indicator for this matchup? Are we worried that SLU struggles to deal with that kind of length from Auburn?
Yeah, it's kind of strange. Obviously, it's not what we're used to seeing from SLU. They usually thrive against those teams or at least compete. But it's kind of the same principles under Travis Ford, despite the smaller team. They're still 35th in the country in offensive rebounding, despite no Goodwin, no French. They're still 8th in the country in free throw rate. They attack the rim. Auburn fouls a lot. I'm hoping there's a lot of foul attempts here, Matt, but it's kind of the same thing with Baylor. It's like a Baylor light here. Auburn's been amazing against the spread, 7-3, 5-point cover margin on average. They've been incredibly good, and they don't even have Flanagan back yet. This team is Final Four upside, in my opinion. KenPom number 11 right now. I think SLU can keep it close at home. It's a good team. I hope we get the good Yuri Collins version. He can be electric when he's good. He can be super bad when he's bad. Lean towards SLU slightly. Numbers come down a little bit.
I love SLU. It's Road Auburn. Road Auburn is not created equal as home Auburn or Auburn at nearby neutral site with good home crowd.
Checking the road splits here real quick.
Look at I watched the South Florida game, and when
Auburn,
Auburn
that's a good example.
South Florida's terrible.
And South Florida is terrible and had every chance to win that game. And now you're catching. I mean, SLU has been
their
pretty
only
solid.
true road.
Right, it's their second true road game. I'm going off that game as a precedent, and just the last 2-3 years. And Auburn's a very Jekyll and Hyde team away from home and in the friendly confines of their own arena. And I think SLU has the horses to run with them. I do worry about the turnovers. Jim, you mentioned that Yuri Collins is a dynamic ball handler and playmaker, but he's a little bit erratic sometimes. Gibson Jimerson, I'm not sure he can handle the pressure, but he can shoot it.
He's
he
a
can
catch and
absolutely
shoot
stroke
man,
it.
yeah.
And I think SLU, the thing with Auburn is like they invade the offensive glass, but they're sometimes weak on the defensive glass as well. I think SLU can get a pretty sizable chunk of some second and third shot opportunities if shots are not falling. Again, sort of the one where you're banking on a good home crowd to really give you that home dog edge. SLU's had some great home crowds in years past, man. I think of those Dayton matches against Obi Toppin when Crutcher hit that game winner there. I don't know if it's going to be that good today, but I think it's a solid home crowd. SLU wins outright. Boom. You heard it here first.
Wow. I would have loved more than 5 points here.
Whoa, money line, eh?
Surprise is 5. I mean, hey, it's 5.
It's not like it's not as fun.
Yeah.
It's not as fun because it's only 5, but yeah, I think they win this game.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm just scared of the matchup thing I mentioned with the way they got worn down by UAB, and that was at SLU too. It's just I feel like this Auburn team is really good.
I agree. They are
not quite on the Arizona level, but of like, oh yeah, I watched them and that they just completely check out.
Kind of like LSU too. It's like, oh, we need to be taking this team seriously. Yeah.
Yeah, but your point about their road, I mean, that South Florida is so bad. You can't struggle with South Florida. So, all right. That wraps up the outline, Matt. Let's go back to the chat mob. I know we missed a couple earlier and there's more questions rolling in. So let's get a better performance out of you. Come on.
We're going to do a little bit of rapid fire here, but first we got to hit our guy Peter's twofer. Lamar, Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, and St. Peter's, Stony Brook. Kai, I'm going to you for the Southland /WAC special, the two Texas-based programs. Any lean here? Lamar's been feisty, but they are just run out of the gym by Texas State. They were up until there. Yeah, they've been pretty feisty in big games. Look at their resume. It's not bad. Given all the injuries they've had, I think it could be far worse. It's not like Omaha where they're just showing up and just laying over the second they walk onto the floor.
Kind of, though.
Lamar's been pretty bad.
They did last game. They were terrible last game. I agree with that. But before that, they've been pretty competitive.
Someone must be out for Lamar because his spread's gone up 3 points.
Yeah, they were out CJ Roberts last game for Mizzou.
Yeah, they were.
Ellis Jefferson too.
And Jefferson
yeah, so 7.5 points. I mean, that's freaking huge. Texas A&M Corpus Christi's been good. They're not this good.
That's a crazy line.
That's an absolutely bonkers line. So tread lightly because there's definitely guys out for Lamar, but shit, 7.5.
Yeah. Again, this was a conference game last year, so perhaps that helps the dog. I don't know.
Good point, Jim. St. Pete, Stoney, Jimmy.
What's wrong with St. Peter's? My God, I guess you can't have a good offense when your highest usage guy, Casey Ndefo, has a 78.0 rating. I mean, he's been terrible on the offensive end. Stony Brook has been a complete juggernaut since Alani went out.
Yes.
Cover after cover, except maybe one game in there. I think you got to lean Stoney for the way they're playing right now. And I don't trust St. Peter's, this current version of St. Peter's. Is the point guard back for St. Peter's? I'm sorry. I don't know.
Lee or
yeah. I know he missed a couple of games.
I don't know if he's returned yet.
No,
he has not. He has not returned. So I would even further towards the Stony Brook lean.
Yep. There are 3 guards all running. Okay. Anyway,
Lee,
beside the point. Matthew Lee, thank you. Stony Brook is where I lean for what it's worth. Kai, Texas A&M, Oregon State. A battle of Ew and Ewer.
I guess.
That's how I see
this.
It.
A road favorite. That's wild.
And that's why I lean Oregon State +3. I don't believe Oregon State is okay. They definitely are that bad, but can't be that bad. I think there's value in Oregon State. I'll put it that way at +3, but not a lot.
Yeah, crappy travel for A&M.
Just some.
Yeah. Oregon State has lost at home to UC Davis. They've lost at home to Princeton, lost to Samford.
Yeah, they're bad. They're bad.
Just to kind of rehash what you're wading into if you're going to Oregon State there. Yeah. I actually agree with you. I think Oregon State has a slight value.
Small lean there.
Jimmy, UAB, Western Virginia.
Man, this is a Super Bowl game for UAB. This is a team trying to get into the at-large picture. You need this one. They're favored, which I think is a little surprising, but man, they're way up there in the analytical rankings. The West Virginia offense has been poor. They lack like true shot creation, which against UAB's ball pressure is a real issue. I actually kind of lead UAB on the matchup, Matthew. Number maybe, I guess, a slight West Virginia lean, so I'm split. But I just think it's like the big UAB home is worth 5 in this game. I lean towards the Blazers.
Kai, I think we like West 5. It's actually at 4 right now. We got a bad number at 3.5. So people want to be sharper than us squares. I'd say hop in now if you believe in the Huggins.
I don't know for a fact, Matt. I think this is going to be a game where you look back and think, oh yeah, West Virginia +4 made absolutely no sense. They're going to win this game.
That's where I'm at. But UAB's been awesome, and I've been losing money fading them the last year and a half now. So Jim brings up valid points that this team is pretty legit.
UAB's definitely legit. It's just kind of like West Virginia, UAB. All right,
so you're not willing to say this is free money.
This game will be ugly.
Nothing's
by the
free
way.
Money.
Okay, this game will be really ugly. I really don't like either offense, to be honest. Okay, next game here. Sorry, I'm losing track of my outline. Wofford Presbyterian, kind of little Carolina showdown. Yeah. I like me some Terriers. I like me some Blue Hose as well. This is, again, an annoying matchup where it's two teams I like. I maybe want to bet on, but they're pitting against each other, so I can't.
Spread feels a tad high at 6.5, but nothing for me to bet it.
Yeah, home dog, low total, maybe a lean towards the Presbyterian, but yeah.
Jim, Michigan is hosting Southern Utah, one of the better, more talented teams, if not the most talented team in the Big Sky. They're old. I think Michigan routes them.
I do too. Southern Utah wants to run up and down. I think that's going to hurt them here. Michigan does have to figure out their point guard situation, but against a Big Sky team, I think that is a conducive to figuring things out. And Dickinson should absolutely demolish this front line. Yep.
Agree. Kai, Providence, UConn. Key injuries here, obviously, for the Huskies. Just got reported, I believe, a half hour ago that Sonogo is a game time decision today. Tyrese Martin is going to play.
Yeah.
So a much more optimistic glass half full outlook for the Huskies. And given that news, I lean this way. I'm not all the way in on the Friars yet. And I think this UConn team is all the way legit. Yeah. I should be on UConn here. I don't know why I haven't laid that.
It's up to 7.5. I think that's kind of
too high. Yeah. It's probably on the Sonogo news.
I'm kind of in on Providence, actually.
I'm too.
They've been impressive, man. Yeah, obviously I'm not excited to jump in against UConn if Sonogo's back. Tyrese Martin almost definitely is back today.
He's officially playing, I think.
Yeah. Bynum hasn't really mattered for Providence being out, so even if he's still on the
I think it's better if he's out.
Yeah. Small lean to Providence, 7.5. Nothing strong.
This is UConn's first home Big East game with fans. I think there's going to be a big juice crowd here. If that's something that matters to you, remember that. So yeah, maybe I'm very split here, Matt. I got nothing.
Yeah, it's a short travel, but I think that crowd will be electric. No question. That does matter. Jim, sort of another akin to our Texas A&M Oregon State breakdown, TCU versus Georgetown. I kind of like TCU. I think they're trending the right direction. And Georgetown, man, unless you're playing Syracuse, that team does not excite me. I like Mahami's played nice, fun little freshman, but I lean TCU here.
Yeah, Georgetown had players out last game that I think are both coming, especially Caden Rice.
Caden Rice is returning. I believe they're both coming back.
He and Billingsley should be back.
Billingsley, yeah.
I can't get there on number though. Like, I just don't think TCU's that good to be road favorite here. So I'm staying away. I'm with Matt where I think TCU's trending up a little bit. The Big 12 has no bottom. The Horned Frogs don't stink. Georgetown, they actually played pretty well without those guys against Howard. But I got nothing, Matt. I got nothing.
Kai, Shaka as a dog. It's too easy, this narrative. It did not pan out, though, however, against UCLA. But we talked about why I thought that was a tough, unfortunate reschedule against them with the later tip time. Anyway, put that aside. They're going to Xavier, who has been as dominant as any team has been in front of their home fans in the country.
Yeah.
And here I am walking into that trap again. Did so at Cincinnati, and I'm back on the same fades Xavier at home. Am I a fool?
I mean, Xavier's been awesome at home. Yeah, they've been amazing. I think I'm looking up right now. Marquette's been good on the road. They obviously didn't cover against Wisconsin. They hung in there. They beat K-State outright.
Yep.
I don't think they're going to beat Xavier, but at 10 or above, I was liking Marquette. 9.5 now. Good. Don't have to bet them. They're scrappy enough to hang around, but it's kind of like Baylor and it's kind of like Auburn and Arizona. Why would you step in front of a freight train right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're going for Marquette, you got to reduce bet size. I think if you filter Bart Torvik for home only, Xavier's 10th in the country. I mean, that's how good they've been at home. They're like a legitimate top 10 team. They murder people, and they get up huge right away. So maybe the final scores aren't totally indicative, but like they're up 30 in the first half against Morehead State. 30. They doubled the spread in the first half. So I don't know. I'm nervous about going against Xavier, but I certainly lean towards dog Shaka.
I worry that I got duped by the sticker shock of, wow, 10, that's big, but you have to factor in, I mean, not just the Xavier's been good at home, but this game's going to be lightning fast. Presumably the total's 150. Yeah. So, I mean, if it was a slower pace game, 10 would feel more like 8, I guess. So you kind of have to, check yourself on that. USC, Georgia Tech, another kind of odd one, non-con. Yeah, I'm with Jim on this one. I just watched Georgia Tech lay a big fat deuce in half court when they completely blew the LSU game. Offensive discombobulation. It was a disaster. I've officially soured on G Tech Kai from watching 30 minutes of basketball. I think USC swallows them today.
And my number had a slightly in Georgia Tech, and I said, no, thank you. And I stayed away.
Georgia Tech needs Bubba Parham back. They need guard play badly.
They need some dynamism. Jim, Northern Iowa, Marshall. Read a little bit of local news on the Panthers. They seemed like they're turning it around, but when you're down double digits at Jackson State, like I don't feel like you're really turning it around.
That was not a convincing performance from them. And Austin Fife, their best big man, is really important. I think he's still out with long COVID, which I need to read more about. It sounds terrible. Marshall at home, up and down track meet. Unless Northern Iowa is especially hot from deep, I think Marshall gets away from them.
Agree. Sorry, I just see it coming to the news wire here. Terrence Shannon is warming up. I think that was expected. Just want to point that out there. He's dealing with back issues.
Spasms or his spasms. He might be able to play, might be limited. Who knows?
We got time for a few more here. Kai, rapid fire. North Texas, Wichita State. The Shocker is hosting the Mean Green. It's a short spread. Some early money coming in against where I think me and you and I stand on this one.
And I believe it. North Texas has been awesome. I feel like Wichita, though they're 8-2, feels shaky. But at 3.5 at the Roundhouse, Matt, I'm leaning towards Wichita.
I like the Shock too.
I think North Texas has played one bad half of basketball a year. Second half against Miami. Really yeah.
Actually, Buffalo too. They blew that game for me. I'm still mad at them about that. But you're right. There's been a good team, and Grant McCaslin's a guy that's fading him has been a negative ROI strategy the last 3 seasons and beyond. How about Arkansas Hofstra, Jim? We got to talk about our beloved Big Suey Razorbacks as we beat our chest over some blemishes, some warts are emerging lately.
Yeah, I mean, this one's in Little Rock. There's going to be a nice, I think, Arkansas crowd here. They've taken money. They've been bet up
a lot.
A
lot.
Hofstra's not terrible, so I'm surprised by this. But you could get angry Arkansas. Musselman got booted from that game against Oklahoma. They got blown out late. Potentially that devalued them a little in analytics, which lowered the spread, which invited money on the Razorback side. I'm scared of a big Arkansas runaway here, Matt, but number certainly leans towards Hofstra where it's at right now.
Yeah, maybe there's injury here.
Someone's got to be out. 3 points, no way.
If no one's out, I'm probably going to hop in the other way. I mean, they took Houston to overtime, and that's it.
Yeah.
When they were without Jalen Ray in that game.
Without Jalen Ray, I'd argue be their second best player Zach Cook's been a monster for this team. I can't believe how good he's been. St. John's Pitt. I can't believe we have to talk about this game, but it's in the outline. We will address it, Kai. Julian.
It's not in the outline.
Sorry, it's in the chat mob outline. It's basically my new outline here.
Yeah.
Julian Champagne will not be playing today's game.
Right.
Does that make you want to take Jeff Capel and the Pitt Panthers?
No, not at all. I'm going to stay away.
I agree.
But I don't feel comfortable betting Johns with him out of the lineup.
I'm close to taking St. John's minus 11.
For what it's worth, good. Jeff Goodman likes the under in this game, and I think that's good logic. With Champagne out, should be way less scoring. Good job, Jeff Goodman.
If Posh Alexander wants to have 8 steals in this game, I think he can have 8 steals. Pitt's guards are not great with the ball, and he is a monster on ball. So I still kind of lean towards Johns even without Champagne.
Jim, can we get a Packers Ravens breakdown from you?
If you're not betting the Packers when I am in the house and there's no Lamar Jackson, you're out of your mind. More objective take. I think the Packers will control the game. The defense has been a lot better than you expect so far this year. Rodgers is a beast. And yeah, the no Lamar thing is huge. I think playing a backup quarterback against this defense that is improving, give me the Pack, baby. Pack by double digits.
I have Jackson at 5 points, and I have your attendance as 1 point. So there's 6 points that
I'm only worth one. How dare you?
Yeah, only one. I guess you're with how many friends? I should probably add a point for all of your friends. So
it's a group. It's a group of 6, and you must know we are in the last row of the stadium, backs to the absolute edge.
Okay, so you might have to throw some objects on the field to actually get that value playing through. Kai, I'm going to keep the mic. Best bets. Let's close this out. Slew. Let's go Bills. Shavitz Arena. I need you to bring the heat for me tonight. Go show up if you're in the area, which I know many who are watching might be. I need that home crowd to get my +5 cover. Anything at 5 or better, I would endorse. Kai.
I got Utah. Oh my God. Guess what, guys? Utah -3 is what it's currently at. My guess is someone's out of the lineup for Utah.
I'm probably going to add the Utes, man.
tread lightly because
injuries don't matter. Injuries don't matter.
But Utah -3, best bet.
Yeah, if someone's out, that matters against a team that's competent, and Mizzou is not. So I would lean towards Utah as well. My best bets, guys, 2 off the board or random games here that we're not asked about. Western Illinois -19.5. That is my first best bet. I think they destroy Eastern Illinois, who they lost to last year, and it's a lot of the same Western Illinois guys. So lean to the Leathernecks, or actually taking the Leathernecks, not a lean. And then the Washington State, Northern Colorado under 140.5. There's some weird issues going on with both rosters here. Injuries plaguing both sides. I think this plays a little bit slower because of those injury issues. I will take the under. So that's my two for Saturday here, Kai.
Good for you, Jim. Going 2.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, you're the host.
No, I'm the host.
Jim is the host.
I'm the host.
We're discombobulated.
We are discombobulated right now.
All right, guys, that's the Saturday show. We will be back again tomorrow. We're going to see how much of a voice I have. And then Monday, I really won't have one after the Baltimore game, the Packers game. So thank you for tuning in. Feel free to tweet at us if we missed any games. We apologize. There's a lot on the slate. Enjoy the games that we do have. Don't worry about this COVID cancellations. Watch some hoops and enjoy it. Cheers to your Saturday. That's it.